Good morning, it's John with B&B Auto. Today, we're going to be looking at another Escape. This one's a 2010 XLT all-wheel drive with 133,022 miles on it. We've got control arms, we've got sway bar end links. We've got, boxes don't match up, but just like the pictures on them, which is kind of funky. But these are rubber sway bar bushings. We've got a heater control resistor, and we've got some power stop brakes to go on this today. But let's get this puppy jacked up and get these wheels off, get the bolts lubed up, and ready for the suspension. We're going to start with that. So it is a balmy -11 outside, so I'm sure you'll hear the heater run again. We're up in Minnesota here, so don't you know? All right, well, stick with us and we'll take you through the process. All right, let's take you on a quick spin of what we're gonna do here. We're gonna do rotors and pads. They're not too terrible, but this is Minnesota, and if you look, these things are rusting from the inside out. It's time to get some new ones on. The other side has some good grooving on it, and yeah, we'll get those replaced. We're going to be doing tie rods down here, so we'll have to get that top bolt off of there, bottom bolt off of there. Those can always be fun. And we're going to be doing this lower control arm on both sides right here. So that's got a big bolt under here, and there's another one right up here in the front. I'll probably be taking this plastic out of the way to get to that bolt. Brakes come off here. There's a couple Torx to take off the caliper. And then there's a couple big bolts to take off the bracket. It's not rocket science, it's just brakes and suspension. So the other thing we're going to be doing suspension wise here are these sway bar bushings. It's been creaking for him, and so we've got one bolt right in the front here, and there's another bolt. You can kind of see the bottom of it through that gap. We'll have to be getting to that one behind the frame or the unibody structure. It's kind of tight back there, so it'll be interesting. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing that on both sides, and then I won't get too terribly far into detail because I've done it on an 03. If you want some deep detail on it, you can watch that video. Stay with us, this is going to be a very good video. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. All right, we'll take a quick look at what we did on time lapse here. We've got the control arm out of there. Since this one's a 2010, it looks like it's actually been done before. This one has a greasable, and it looks like that's blue, so that's probably a Moog that was on there. But probably hasn't been greased in a very long time. This one only wants to move about that far. And it's got a little bit of up and down play to it as well. The bushings on this side look good. They don't look too bad on this side, but it is, you know, we got some micro cracking going on there. But the other side is definitely, the bushing is starting to slide out, so we wanted to replace both of them, have them the same again. Really wasn't too bad. These bolts came right out. You know, you got to use a big impact and a 21 for this big guy right here. That's a pretty good sized bolt. The front one's just a, what is that, an 18 millimeter, I believe. And yeah, it's pretty kind of straightforward. You know, you just take your brakes off, take your caliper, hang that up, get that out of the way, take your caliper bracket off. You can just take your whole caliper bracket off if you're not going to be doing brakes. Actually, you can do it without taking it off. I don't know why the camera stopped. You know, GoPro stuff. You don't necessarily have to take them out of the way, but I like to get them out of the way. Since we're doing brakes anyway, it's an obvious decision. With the sway bar link, goes down up in there. There's pressure on the sway bar, so I still have got to get at that. I've got to get those bolts out over there, but I figured I'd take the other side apart before I start pulling apart the sway bar itself to do those bushings. Looks like these Motorcraft ones that were on here actually have a bolt, so you can use a wrench on these. I just grab a vice grips real quick, and for the bottom ones, tight areas, I like to use the gear wrench, whatever you want to call it, external drive through socket. Picked that up for like 65 bucks. I used it last time. It helps a lot. Yeah, so we'll get back to it. I'm gonna go tear apart the other side, and then when I'm ready to pull those sway bar bushing caps off of there so we can replace the sway bar bushings, I'll bring it back on. Alright, so we've got the passenger side now torn apart. Same exact process as the other side, just in reverse. This one did fight me a little bit getting the ball joint out. Looked like this one was an original, the other one was a replacement. I'll show you in a sec. But next we're going to go after the bolt. Throw that first bolt there, and then work on the back one to get new bushings in this sway bar. Take you over here, and we'll take a look. Here's the original one. This ball joint pops up and down pretty good and definitely worn out. And the bushing in this one on the back, you can tell that thing's coming apart, pulling out the top there in bad shape. So we need to get this one replaced. This one does not have a grease zerd on the bottom. So anticipating this was the original Motorcraft arm and this was a replacement, or this was a cheaper replacement. Either way, I can tell you to get this out, the best way when they're really jammed up is to use two pickle forks. Get one in there and then get another one in and just hammer it out, and it'll drop out of there. Some fighting and some beating on it, but it'll come out. Alright, well, so let's get to it, and I'll work on this sway bar. got these bushings here out on both sides. Really not too bad, but he was complaining of a creaking, and they're cheap enough. And since I was in here, we're going to go ahead and get them taken care of. They are a little bit out of round, but they really don't look too bad. But next we're going to take some brake clean and some rags and get this area all cleaned up. So when we put the new ones on, we won't have any issues with grease and gravel and salt water and stuff in there. You know, these good old Minnesota roads. So we'll get that cleaned up. All right, we got both areas cleaned up back in here. Just took a rag with some brake clean and cleaned these up real well. Wanted to make sure to get the junk out of there. So here's a new one compared to the old one. Make sure I hold them the same here. So you can take a look at them, and yeah, they're the same thing. This one is, you can see the hole is larger, and there definitely has been worn out a little bit. Just enough room for that to kind of have some play. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slip this one on there. I'm going to put a little dielectric grease in the hole so it slips onto there nice, and so it doesn't bind up or do any funny squeaking or anything like that. So I'm going to get this lubed up, get it put back on there, get the bracket back on and bolt it down. And you can watch in time lapse. All right, we've got the new bushings in and tightened down back in there. The rear bolt is, it's gonna tight back in there, but I don't know, a swivel 1/2 inch with a 15 on it worked pretty well for me. I had the smaller one there, and I had the external drive socket too. For some reason it seems like the passenger side was a little tighter to get at. From this side over the back, you just got to go over the exhaust and drive shaft, and you can get right in there. These came right out 2010, and as you can tell, pretty rusty. So we're going to go ahead and get the new control arm in, sway bar, new bolt in the bottom of this, and start putting this all back together. And we'll take you along on the on time lapse. I'll probably just keep going on it. I've got the brakes up here. I'll take these pins out of here, re-grease them. They were sliding good already, but I'll re-grease them, collapse the piston so we can get that back on. We'll get this edge kind of cleaned up here so the new ones don't stick on and they go on evenly. And yeah, we'll get this side all put back together. Alright, real quick, we got the other side all buttoned up. Got the brakes done, slide pins greased, everything cleaned up, everything installed. Now we're going to go ahead and put this side together. Alrighty, we've got this new control arm in on this side. I've done a bolt check from that one back there. I've checked both the sway bars here. The sway bar bolts, these are all greased up. These, what did I get? I think I said they were Moog, but these are actually, I think these are TTX, and they've got a little, they'll leak out because they've got a little hole in them. So once you get them filled out, they'll start squeezing out. So got them all installed, greased up. Everything is tight, good to go. New brakes are on. Little anti-rattle pad, everything's cleaned up. As you saw in the video, I took out the slide pins, greased them up, cleaned them, greased them up really good. I always take a wire wheel and clean out these grooves that the pads sit in. Some guys will tell you other things, but I don't grease these. If you grease these, they'll grease jack, which ends up, you get hard grease in there, especially with all the junk weather that we get up in Minnesota. If you leave nothing in there, then these, you know, these are meant to slide on the metal that's in there. So I like to leave them plain. I used to put grease in there until I noticed how gummed up it was on one of the vehicles that I was working on. So we'll get the tools picked up here. Got a little mess going on, but we'll get these picked up and get the wheels thrown back on here. You can watch me put the tires back on. So much fun, right? Alright, we've got the tires put back on, we've got the suspension all done, we bounced it around, I've stepped on the brakes so they're ready to go. I'm going to have the customer, a friend of mine, take it out for a spin and we'll see how it sounds. And we'll also be burnishing the brakes at that point, and that's where you want to slow down and not come to a full stop. Do that a bunch, get up to speed, you know, take it out in the country or something, or whatever, out on the highway, and where there's not a whole lot of room. But yeah, take it down the highway and get up to speed, push the brakes pretty hard. You don't have to go crazy, you just got to get them heated up. You want to mate those pads to those new rotors without stopping. If you're going to stop, you want to get them to cool down before that. So, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for watching. B&B Auto out.
Subscribe.